How people communicate with one another varies widely from culture to culture. In our fully globalized time, it is more important than ever to understand these differences and where they come from. One way to reach such an understanding is through the high and low context culture framework developed by anthropologist Edward T. Hall. It has been said that when Americans want to say 100 things, they will verbalize 150 things, for they are explicit in their use of language in communication. When the Japanese verbalize 70 things, they are trying to get the other person to understand 100, for they are using implicit understandings, and at times nonverbal cues get their points across. Cultures can be separated into two groups with regard to communication: high context culture, such as East Asian, Latin American, Southern Mediterranean, and Arab countries, were commonly homogeneous, sharing a history of common values and assumptions. When people of high context culture communicate, it is not necessary for them to say everything explicitly. Nonverbal cues often communicate what is not said, and silence can have great meaning.
In parallel to these low context cultures, such as America, Canada, and Western European countries, these communicators prefer clear descriptions and ambiguous communication and are highly specific. Low context communicators do not rely on or test our relationships in business communication. They rely on the spoken or written word. In the low context culture, communication is straightforward and doesn't require a lot of interpretation or is already understood once spoken. Don't have to say the same thing over and over again. It's clear in the content that is conveyed without complexity. Most of the low context culture is in the Western countries, which we will notice in the working time of the meeting. At times, it may seem too direct and strong, which is the nature of low context cultures. But on the other hand, high context cultures we will have more complex communication with deeper interpretation in a hierarchy. Most of them are Asian countries, and Thailand is one of the high context culture as well. Characteristics of low context cultures: 1. Communicate in a direct, clear, uncomplicated manner. 2. Pay attention to the true meaning of the word rather than the context around it. 3. Building interpersonal relationships is less, because it's focused only on communication in various matters. 4. If it's meeting, the issue must be summarized to prevent confusion. 5. The low context cultures will view the high context culture as lazy, undisciplined, lacking transparency, unable to communicate effectively, or wasting so much time to tie in to build relationship instead of getting work done. 6. Focus on communicating to the point quickly. Therefore, verbal communication, it is most necessary because the low context cultures group does not focus on building relationships with many other activities.
Characteristic of high context culture: 1. Indirect communication is very sensitive and detailed. 2. Use nonverbal gesture to be involved quite a lot with communication, such as tone of voice, gesture, eye movements, facial expression to convey meaning. 3. Many times, what is said has to be interpreted in order to achieve a correct understanding again. 4. Focus more on building relationships that drive success. 5. At the meeting, nothing was summarized as a point. 6. People who are very high context culture will see low context culture communication is unreliable and time consuming, and also see that the speech of high context culture group is too direct, too strong. Some words do not need to be spoken. It does not seem appropriate in some situations. And the last one, focus on group success through building relationships, which is more important than individual success as a group low context culture.
The implications of the above are far-reaching. A person from a low context culture could behave in a way that would be considered ignorant, rude, or incompetent in high context cultures by asking a lot of questions, hence implying that he does not understand the meaning without them. acting in a confrontational way, not knowing how to fit into the group dynamic, being unable to juggle many tasks simultaneously. Similarly, a high context individual could be considered vague, secretive, unfunctional, unable to adhere to plans, or incompetent due to a lack of ability to work on their own.